Hey there, hi there, ho there. Welcome back once again to another fascinating episode of Disney Compendium. I am your host, as always, JJ. Over there, my good buddy, my good pal, Nick. Nick, how you doing?
Uh, Great, JJ. I'm here excited to talk about Empire of the Sun
Excuse
or
me, Empire in the Sun,
Empire in the Sun, uh,
or
or Emperor's New Groove,
Emperor's New Groove. The
aka,
Emperor's
aka Disney's Wolfenstein or Duke Nukem Forever.
Disney, a movie 3 years in the making for Disney. Uh,
Was it? Well, I thought it was 6.5.
Yeah, it was something like crazy. It's like
Yeah,
Sting was working on it for like 3 years or
yeah.
something. Yeah, and the third of the year 2000 Disney movies. You had Fantasia 2000, you had Dinosaur, and now you have The Emperor's New Groove. Uh, Also, you'll probably, if you looked at the title, you'll see there's another movie included into this title called The Sweatbox, because there was a documentary produced alongside this movie titled The Sweatbox that was never released, but it's online. Uh, and it's a fascinating look into the production of this movie. Uh,
It's like the
that
work prints version.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah.
it's an unfinished documentary, so there's swearing, there's obvious scenes that would never have made it into a Disney produced documentary in any way, shape, or form. But it exists. It's fascinating to show the chaos of the Disney studios at the time and to get a good feel of who Sting, the musician, not the professional wrestler,
Yes.
Sting truly is as a person. Uh,
Uh, a little bit of a curmudgeon.
but yes, so Emperor's New Groove. Have you ever seen this before?
No, I've never seen it in its entirety.
Okay.
So recently I did watch it. I liked it. I enjoyed it.
It's a underdog favorite of mine. I don't think
Yeah.
it's not going to be high on my list, but
No, considering the circumstances, I think like, oh, this
I
actually
this
turned out
movie
well.
this movie's fun. It's silly. It's really slapsticky, which is weird for Disney. Like it focuses a lot on weird jokes that just sort of happen, like the finale,
Yeah.
which we'll get to in a minute. But yeah, it's a it's an interesting movie, and yeah, we'll just 77 minutes. Also, not a particularly long movie either.
No.
Not even an hour and a half, which at this time is kind of absurd for a Disney movie to not be an hour and a half. So I don't know. I was gonna say I don't know what happened there, but we know what happened there.
Almost as they cut out a ton of material and
Almost, yeah,
songs.
almost as if they started this movie from scratch with 2 years to go, uh,
Yeah.
to get it to the market. Um, so, yeah. Uh, so we are presented immediately with Kuzco, um, the sad llama crying in the middle of the rain, with Kuzco also doing the narration,
So
who
it's
is
it's
played
basically
by.
Frank Miller's Daredevil.
Yes, it
Yes.
is. Yeah, actually, yeah.
He's sad in the rain
Sad in the
doing
rain,
doing
doing his
narration.
own. There we go.
Yeah.
Voiced by David Spade, who, um, given what this character is, they could not have picked a better person to voice this
No,
character.
he did a great job.
This is absolutely fantastic casting.
Mhm.
Not a big David Spade fan in general, but in this situation,
No.
it's perfect.
I
I
think
can't really like. You can almost not picture anyone else in the role, and clearly they didn't because even in the work print stuff that you see in the documentary, it's still David Spade. Like he was involved from the get go. And this is 1999, like David Spade was still somebody.
he was doing Just Shoot Me, I think.
Yes.
Or maybe even doing he might have been was he done with Tommy Boy and Black Sheep already?
I mean, we're talking when this movie was being made, when they started working on this movie, it was clearly you know, 97, 98. So, it's,
He might have still been at SNL, honestly.
yeah. So, yeah. So you have him. He is, um, he is an unreliable narrator.
Mm-hmm.
From they sort of go back to it multiple times. It gets confusing having this narration because it makes you think that this narration is sort of taking place in the future, but it kind of is, but also isn't at the same time because by the time it catches up to itself, he starts interacting with himself
Yeah.
and it throws off any sort of semblance of a timeline. So it makes it seem like the narrator is just an alternate timeline version of Kuzco.
It was before we had Deadpool
Yeah,
interacting with his own breaking the
yeah,
third wall. Yeah.
yeah. So you're introduced to him, and he is. Uh, we get to the backstory of him of who he is as an emperor, and
Kind of a turd.
yeah, kind of.
Well, yeah, but a turd with a theme song sung by Tom Jones.
Tom Jones, which yeah, that whew,
Yeah,
it sticks out significantly in this movie. That song. Um, didn't like it.
no,
I don't hate Tom Jones. I'll just say
no.
that outright. It's for this movie, it's terrible. And look, the documentary focuses a lot on Sting and Sting writing music for this. And every single time they cut to a Sting song and him performing it, I'm like, I'm glad we didn't get this movie because this song sucks. Like,
Oh God! What's the one? The panorama llama.
yeah, I was gonna
Oh
say
Jesus! No.
the llama song that we hear like 3 or 4 times in the documentary is absolutely the worst. It
Yeah.
really is just him playing word salad with lyrics, anything that can vaguely rhyme with llama, with no drama or whatever
Yeah.
kind of nonsense
Well,
he's
I
coming
remember
up with.
panorama.
Panorama,
I
yeah,
was like, oh God. And they're like, yeah, this is good work, Sting.
yeah, and they're praising it, and like when just like oh, uh, like the only good song that they showed was the one sung by Eartha Kitt. Uh,
And they cut that out too.
they cut that one out too, the best song. Um, but so yeah, so was it, he kicks the old dude out of his mansion
Like
for throwing off his groove.
jazz from Fresh Prince style.
Yeah,
His uncle fills him out the front.
yeah. Um, we're introduced to Yzma, as mentioned earlier, played by Eartha Kitt. Uh, just absolutely chewing the scenery in every scene she's in.
Probably the
She,
best part of this movie.
she's definitely, yeah, I would say so. Like she does a phenomenal job at being the heavy, but also allowing the character to be the butt of a bunch of jokes.
Mm.
Um, they kind of go a little too on the nose at some points that they got Eartha Kitt to be in this movie, but
Like, especially at the end of the movie.
especially at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
But it was fun looking at the documentary to see that they also like originally the character was just like a horny old lady.
Just cared about her beauty and
Cared about her beauty, and even though there's snow on the mountain, there's fire in the furnace. Was like
yes,
the line that they
yeah.
went to multiple times. Um, but they just sort of cut all of that out. Just made her just this old. She's basically a witch, but they don't like that doesn't exist in this universe. It's the concept of a witch, so
She's
she's able to make potions. She's a chemist. She's
yeah.
um,
She's Plague Knight.
yeah. She's throwing. I mean, the end of this
I'm not
movie isn't too
joking.
far removed from. Yeah,
She's Plague Knight.
yeah, she's Plague Knight. So she's trying to like rule the country behind Kuzco's back, and he's done with it, so he fires her.
Mm.
Right then and there. Fires her. So was Kronk her employee?
I think it was. He kind of mentioned that she goes through them, every
Yeah,
decade or so. So I don't know if it's implied that they die or she just trades them in for younger models, if you know what I
yeah,
mean. So
because it's weird because like he's never told that he's fired, but he is as well.
yeah,
So um,
Patrick Warburton.
Patrick Warburton, David Putty himself.
Yeah, I was saying like that's probably what he would have been doing at the time of this movie.
Yeah, this is his first foray into the magical world of Disney. He's been there kind of ever since.
Yeah.
So he
But
is.
he's been doing the tick at this point as well.
No, because I think that maybe.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, Patrick Warburton doing his Patrick Warburton. He doesn't change. It's the
He's
same
got one
character.
voice and it's a
He's got
great
one
voice.
voice and got one, like with the exception of Family Guy, he has like one character, which is
Oh, I forgot he's in Family Guy. I know
yeah,
the biggest thing, but besides
yeah,
Seinfeld, but
yeah, because every character that he plays is he's dumb as a sack of bricks, but he's just sweetheart.
yeah,
So you can't help but you can't help but just like the guy.
yeah.
Um,
He
so
does host the series Unfortunate Events on Netflix. So
does he? I
or
haven't watched that.
he's the Rod Serling of that show.
Okay,
Yeah. So.
submitted like
Yes.
yeah. Um, was it? Yeah. So you got. I mean, it's a cast of very few.
Yeah,
Very small cast, very small scale. So you've got uh, David Spade, Eartha Kitt, uh, Putty, and
John Goodman.
John Goodman.
Well,
So
so you also kind of funny aside here, like you have Wendy Malick who does
yeah,
she was on Just Shoot Me with David Spade too.
yeah,
Yeah, so you know who wasn't in this movie? Owen Wilson.
yeah, boy. So it's hard to talk about because like we wanted to. We'll get back to some of this stuff later.
Yeah.
Because when that happens in the documentary, you're like, what?
Yeah. He's just there.
Just there. They don't say anything about it, and they don't like show him.
He's in the recording studio with David Spade. There's kind of, but he doesn't talk to the camera.
Yeah.
At any point.
They know that character was cut pretty soon. So
yeah. Like, listen, man, if we were making a movie about anamorphic cars, we'll bring you back. I swear to God.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah. And then when you heard them side by side, you're like, wow, how have they not actually like done anything like this before?
Yeah.
Like these two.
Yeah.
So in order to get her revenge, Yzma is going to poison Kuzco.
Yeah.
What was Kuzco in Kingdom of the Sun was originally named was it Matcha?
I think so.
Matcha, yeah. And David Spade in the documentary mentions that they changed the name because in Japanese it means
something derogatory.
Something derogatory. A 4-letter word that starts with C.
Yeah.
And then he goes on to make a joke about it also, but that's not what they cared about. In Korea, it means bad movie, which is not true. But what is true is they found out that it meant that C word in in Japanese, and Japan is a big market. You just can't have your characters saying that word constantly.
Yeah, fine. So what do they call?
Joni loves Chachi and Kingdom of the Sun, massive successes.
What do they call green tea in Japan then? What's that powder that goes in it?
Well, that changes everything on the what that tea is. But jumped ahead a little bit with she's planning on poisoning him because this is where we meet John Goodman, who was summoned to meet the Emperor. when the Emperor just has a quick question for him, where where the sun shines best on his in his village on his little mountaintop there, his little hilltop. Because he wanted to know that because he plans on building for his 18th birthday tomorrow a big fun house basically for himself.
A water park.
A water park on top. It's just destroy the village and build a water park. Big. What did he call it? The Kuzcotopia? What did he? Yeah, Kuzcotopia.
That's right. Yeah.
With water, so it has a water slide. He's going to be the main building's going to be on top of the hill that John Goodman lives in, and yeah,
That's
John Goodman destroying his home. Thus, making him as vile as possible. Like, well, where do we live? I don't care.
Yeah, I was like, don't know, don't care.
Yeah. So yeah, you have all this stuff going on, and then later on, you have the dinner where Kuzco gets poisoned, but it's Kronk, so he messes that whole thing up.
Yeah, he Abby normals him there. So
yes, he did. First and foremost, he screws up by mixing up the which drinks were poisoned and which weren't. So he just mixes them all together and makes one drink out with all the poison. And then we later find out when after he turns into a llama, and it makes no sense that the label was like Mad Magazine fold-in style picture of a llama that was folded down to look like a skull somehow.
Yeah.
It's a good sight gag.
It is a good sight gag. Well, you kind of also get like, oh, Kronk's like, it's kind of like, oh, he's a big dumb guy, but he's really a good cook. That kind of
yeah, we come back to that later because he was very focused on this meal. The reason why he got sidetracked with giving the drinks that he had poisoned was because his spinach cups were burning. So they knock out Kuzco and send him off. Sends Kronk off to kill him and put him in the sack and dispose of the body. Then, of course, again, it's Kronk, so he loses the body.
Well, he has a crisis of conscience.
Well, yeah, the running gag throughout this one is that he has the devil and the angel on his shoulder, and both of them are equally as stupid as he is, which is good. But yeah, he has a crisis of conscience. He gets the angel telling him no and the devil telling him yes.
He loses him, and he loses him in a sack, like Marion in the basket from Raiders.
Yes, exactly.
So it's basically that scene.
Yeah. But yeah, so he misplaces Kuzco's unconscious body in the back of Poncha's cart. Poncha being John Goodman. Then we meet John Goodman's family.
Yeah, and he's struggling to tell his family that, hey, we gotta move like now.
Yeah, like immediately.
But he doesn't do it. He never says it.
He never says it. The family never knows.
Like, bro, what?
Yeah. The family never knows that their livelihood is in jeopardy. Even when he's out with the Emperor, trying to save him, and they come back later, still never really explains what's happening.
That's an awkward conversation for later.
Just vaguely explains what's happening.
Yeah.
But she accepts it immediately, the wife. So yeah, we're back at the home of John Goodman. So back with the Connors.
Yep. Back with Barton Fink.
Yeah. Kuzco wakes up in the bag, and obviously Pacha's losing his mind over this whole thing.
Demon Llama, I called him, or
Demon Llama, yeah.
Demon Llama, yeah.
But he explains to him, like, look at you, do this.
Yeah.
He puts his hands up. He's like, oh, is this some sort of country folk? Puts his hand up and notices it's a hoof. was gonna say claw, but then I was like, wait, no, that's not right.
Yeah,
That's the wrong word.
yeah, I don't know. It'd be a hoof, yeah.
Yeah. Um. So he's freaking out. Everyone's freaking out about all of this. Don't know what happened. He's trying to figure out what happened. He comes to the conclusion that Pacha did it.
Yeah.
Which is just, I mean, look, it's not that crazy of a conclusion. I mean, you
Oh,
know that you pissed him off.
yeah.
You know that here he is.
So he
But
takes off into the jungle.
yeah, he wants to have Pacha take him back to the kingdom so he can get fixed. Reverse the curse that Pacha supposedly put on him.
Okay, he assumes Usman's just going to turn him back, even though he fired her.
Yeah, yeah. So dumb. The character is incredibly dumb too.
Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah,
because he's a spoiled, pampered brat, so he doesn't know anything else than just snap his fingers and have it get done.
Yeah,
and that's just what he assumes is going to happen again. Because he has no idea that he was, she tried to kill him. She has no idea, or he has no idea that that's what happened at this point. So he tries to talk John Goodman into taking him out. John Goodman's like, no, you're going to ruin my house. If you go back, then you're just going to destroy my house. And if you don't go back, then I'm good. Yep. I'm aces out here. So it's like, okay, well, I'll just find my way back home. No, you're not going to survive doing that. But he does it anyways. And it doesn't go well.
Yeah. More crisis of conscience.
Yeah.
From Pacha.
Kuzco just ends up.
Anger's a chipmunk?
Anger's a
squirrel.
Squirrel? I guess squirrel.
Yeah.
Which comes back later, multiple times in this movie. Yeah. Gets chased into what is it? The den of jaguars.
Yes.
Which leads into a chase where Pacha comes and makes the save. Like, all right, let's do this.
It's a buddy movie.
It is.
It's a buddy road trip movie.
Yeah. At this point, it turns into a road trip movie.
Yeah.
I'll just blast on through this because there really isn't much going on here. No. I like the diner scene.
Yeah.
The diner scene's fun. It's very sitcom-y, but 1960s sitcom.
Right.
A lot of
menu gag,
menu gag, and a lot of just Scooby-Doo style, in rotating doors kind of situation where you have the scene with Yzma, through a series of unfortunate events, Kronk winds up in the kitchen cooking the dinners.
I see what you did there. I like it.
Yeah. And so you have this scene of Yzma and Kuzco in disguise, placing orders and circling around but never meeting. It's a lot of this movie survives strictly on Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah.
We're about to get to one shortly, but because they have the one where they're falling off the cliff and everything.
Right.
I think so they fall off the cliff and they're trying to do the back-to-back walk up the wall, and then they grab the rope, and then more stuff happens. He ends up the branch is stuck, the rope is stuck on, or the vine is stuck on a branch, which causes scorpions to fall on everyone.
And then he gets a mouthful of bats and
so inevitably it just sort of blows them up and over and onto the cliff.
Mm-hmm.
Makes no sense. The physics of it make zero sense. There's no way that could happen. They even look at each other in the movie like, did you see that?
Huh.
Yeah.
I guess I suppose that's why it makes it more difficult to talk about because it's so sight gag heavy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe more than any film we've touched.
Yeah, because this movie is genuinely probably the most comedic film they've ever made.
Yeah.
It revolves entirely on jokes, puns, visual humor, and the sort of slapstick stuff that goes on. Three Stooges style goofs and stuff. So
yeah, and then like also like a little like wink at the audience, like
yeah,
every now and then. So
yeah. Yeah, like the cliff scene with
yeah,
them climbing up. Like they the way they look at each other is exactly how the audience would respond to that. Like, what?
yeah,
How?
yeah,
So, um, anyways, the diner is where they find out independently that Yzma is trying to kill him.
right,
Because John Goodman hears it and is trying to explain this to Kuzco, and it doesn't, it's Kuzco. He's just like, nah, man, you're just trying to keep me away from getting back to the thing. So I'm gonna go talk to her. He's like, fine, I'm out of here. Storms off, and then you get to uh, him about to get to Yzma and hearing this whole thing about her, that the llama needs to die, and that's when
yeah.
it dawns on him that oh man, she is trying to kill me, and
But yeah,
so he leaves the diner with nowhere to go because he's, as John Goodman said at one point, someday you're gonna have nobody, you know.
yeah.
So he decides he's just gonna go live the rest of his life as a llama, I suppose.
And who don't even like her?
Yeah.
The other llamas are like,
Look at this guy. Look at this guy.
look at this guy
Who's he
doesn't
think he
know how
is?
to llama.
Doesn't even know how to llama. He doesn't know
So
the first thing about being a llama.
now,
Why John Goodman thought to be there and to hang out there for so long with the llamas makes zero sense. Again, this movie survives on that concept of this makes no sense.
well, now, do you remember the part in Sweatbox? Sorry to reference that again already, but like they show like the first cut of it. There's a scene of that character in the field with the llamas
Yeah,
before, so they probably just like repurposed that footage.
yeah. Oh,
It's like, we'll leave it in. We'll say he was
yeah,
there the whole time.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, so that's so yeah. They catch up to each other in the field of llamas.
Yes, I feel across the fields of llama.
um, that's when they decide, okay, we got to do this. We'll go back to my house for some supplies, and we'll get back to the um, castle or whatever,
Yeah,
kingdom,
palace.
whatever. Yeah, palace. Um, when they get there, Yzma's there already. So
because how do they deduce that?
Because Patrick Warburton Kronk remembered where he saw the uh, the John Goodman's character when they were in the diner, because there was the whole running thing of like, where do I know you from?
Yeah,
we were both in ballet together.
or we played football together or whatever it was. Yeah,
yeah. It's like, I hung out in the back because I had that kind of. And then it's John Goodman's like, no, we don't know each other. No, we don't know each other. But then I do like the gag where he remembers, where he wakes up in a cold sweat. That peasant didn't pay for his meal.
yeah.
Then falls back asleep, and then like a couple seconds later, that peasant was also the guy I saw leaving the palace.
Yeah,
that took Cusco's body sack. So that's where he remembered.
I also like the gag with him and Yzma, where he's basically carrying her like on his back, and she's like in a little tent.
Yeah,
it's a weird little
thing. A little weird manservant, and where he like, in order for her to get out, she has to walk down him, just also upsetting. But he seems happy, so can't really blame him.
It's like very Master Blastery.
Yeah. So yeah, they arrive to the house. Yzma's there trying to find the llama, find any sort of secret would be the llama, where the llama would be, whatever. Obviously, at this time, the wife has zero idea what any of this is about.
But she's already suspicious of.
Yeah, she's suspicious out the gate because she's already calling him by the wrong name and everything.
And Kronk's playing with his children.
Doing the double dutch with the children. So yeah, then he finally is able to get to his wife. He's like, okay, listen, you're gonna have to distract me. Let's go. We got to do this. Still, again, not really explaining what's going on, but she just trusts him enough to say, okay, I got this. We
After,
got
after,
this.
after also being freaked out by the talking llama.
Yeah.
And just like Ralph Cramdoning, that dude with the frying pan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just immediately. So yeah. Uh, what happens next?
They're trying to get the little Indiana Jones like dotted path back to the palace.
Yeah. They do
And
eventually get back to the palace. Okay, yeah, that's right, because this is another one of those Deus Ex Machina goofball scenes. Because they get to the palace, they get to Yzma's lair with all the revisit the joke from earlier where they pull the lever and it launches them out. It's like why does she even have that lever?
After his children or his family have distracted Kronk and Yzma, and they fall into like a pit or something.
I did like the scene of Yzma being tarred and feathered, basically, and then replacing the pinata.
She's a pinata now.
Yeah, she's pinata now. It's a good scene. So, anyways, they go into the lab finally, looking for all the potions, and when they get to the lions and tigers and bears, potions, and then they get to people, and it's like, oh my, so,
and then she's already there.
She's already there, and they even ask, like, how did you get here already? And then even she has to ask, how did we get here already?
And Kronk's like, I don't know, it defies all explanation.
Yeah, and it's just like another wink and a nod to the audience, like, it's a movie, deal with it.
Yeah.
So they're fighting over the potion. How did she get turned into a cat again? Because
there's 2 potions left.
Yeah.
There's a whole thing where there's a gag where they're running away, and he's like, and Kuzco's trying the potions, and they narrow down like, oh, there's 2 left. So one of them has to be a person one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yzma gets it, and she gets turned into a tiny kitten. Get it? Because it's voiced by Eartha Kitt, Catwoman.
Yes. Get it? This movie just beats you over the head with it.
Children of the year 2000, you
she was Catwoman.
Yeah, she was Catwoman. Ask your dad.
Ask your dad who the sexiest Catwoman was. Spoilers, it was Eartha Kitt. Sorry, Lee Merriweather.
So yeah, they're going through the scene after she falls for the vial.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we did forget that Kronk did have his conscience of faith again, where he tried to kill Yzma.
Yeah,
he has the devil and everything. It's like the angel's like, the salvation will come from above, and they look up and there's a chandelier up there. And he cuts the rope.
But she's so rail thin that it goes
right over her.
Right over. So, a lot of things in this movie where it's like, this normally works. Like, yeah, it does. Like, again, the whole you get it.
Yeah. So, he's immediately, sent off to the depths of the palace because of the trapdoor situation that's going on there. Where just like Mr. Burns' office, there's like, the trapdoor's there when you need it, but it exists where it needs to exist.
It just happens to be that you happen to be standing in that spot.
Why there would be a trapdoor next to the chandelier rope, unclear. But there it is.
Yeah.
In case somebody wanted to adjust the chandelier, but you were like, no, you could dispatch them rather quickly.
Don't touch that chandelier.
Chonk.
Yeah, the more I've thought about it, like the overt nature with the way some of the gags are delivered, and this is probably the case based on what we're going to talk about in a bit, but that the writers have made this effing movie with such a chip on their shoulder.
Yeah,
they're like, hey, you know what? Here it is. Here's the joke.
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
normally works, but not now.
yeah,
Or we know, we get it. We
yeah,
get it. Yeah.
yeah. Anyways, they fight over the vial some more. Eartha Kitt falls off the building for an upsettingly long amount of time.
Yes. That it
uh,
almost Hans Gruber-esque amount of time.
yeah. Um, I will say the trampoline gag is honestly one of my favorites.
That is funny. Like it's like, why is this here?
Yeah, it makes no sense. It's just there. And just the exchange between the two. It's like, I told you we didn't order any trampolines. Then why didn't you tell me that before I built it?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. And then she hits the trampoline, gets shot back up, catches the vial. When she gets back up and is about to use the vial again, here comes Kronk, smashes her because, wow, who would have thought that secret passageway would have let me right here?
Yeah.
Again, another Deus Ex Machina. Uh, just this, it happened because it needed to
Yep.
situation, and it was a goofy sight gag that, yeah, why would the trapdoor send him right there at that very second? But there it is.
And she also can't open the vial because the cork with the pull the cork out because she's got
Yeah,
cat paws. She's
yeah,
basically a kitten.
yeah. The fact that that couldn't come out with her tugging on it with her teeth makes no sense, but
Yeah.
because she was clearly had a grip on it because it was stretching and everything. Whatever. Um, anyway, oh, we didn't mention that them to get the vial, they were doing the teamwork, back up, walk
Yes.
up the thing again.
It was a
Um,
callback.
yeah, call back to that. Which it didn't. Again, it's one of those things where it was a callback, but it didn't really mean anything because she got to the vial before them anyways. So again, another one of those things where it's like this would have worked in any other movie, but not this one.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, they everything works out. He gets the vial. He turns back into a human. Uh, he becomes a better person for the adventure because of the adventure.
He apologizes to the old guy. He throws
Apologizes
out
to the old guy. He changes his opinion on building the Kuzcotopia because
under the guise of being a jerk, though.
yeah,
He's like, "Oh
yeah.
no, yeah, you told me like these hills were singing, and
Once the sun hits these hills, it starts singing. And let me tell
almost
you,
going to move it somewhere else because you lied to me."
yeah,
Like, and then he's like, "Well, you know where it does? Like the hill next to us," as a way of saying,
yeah.
"Like, hey, buddy."
Again, it's just one of those. It's just one of those dumb things where it's like now they live in the same village together because he built his summer house. Still gets his summer house. Still gets his water slide.
Yeah.
Still, but he's better. He's got his heart has grown 3 sizes that day.
Yes. He lets Ponch's children use the water slide.
Yeah.
He's maybe a little bit too much into Ponch's wife.
Yeah. She made him a poncho with a llama on it as like a big like. Yeah, I like that.
It's like, oh no, Prima Notra's coming back.
um, and then you get the like what would be a post credit scene in any other movie is just like this quick cut to Kronk doing his scout leader routine, talking with a squirrel, and there's Yzma as one of the scouts and everything. It's
Still the cat.
still the cat, not fixed.
Well, we don't know. I mean, she didn't listen to Bob Barker and get her fixed.
You'd think. I mean, she
at her advantage.
yeah, she could technically just tell somebody how to make the potion to fix her, but whatever.
Yeah, not important.
Yeah.
They cut to the one sing song.
Yeah, the one sing song that made it into the movie.
Nominated for an Oscar, by the way.
It was. Did not win. Bob Dylan won that year. But yeah, okay. So
we blew through that to get to the next thing.
Where do we start? Well, do we combine production with the Sweatbox, sort of, or should we just talk about the Sweatbox?
I guess the Sweatbox and production go hand in hand, so I might as well just do.
I think it'll be easier just we'll just talk about production and production. So the Sweatbox, as we mentioned earlier, was the documentary like a work print version that's out there. You can easily get it. It's on YouTube right now.
Yeah.
It tends to disappear from time to time. Disney seems to care less now than they did like 5-10 years ago.
As of this recording, it's on there.
Yeah, and it's been on there for a couple of months now. So it used to be harder to find online than it is now, but it's there. It's fascinating.
It really is. It's a behind the curtain thing.
It is. It is so. It is like doubly behind the curtain. It is so un-Disney like.
Yeah.
That you understand why it never saw light of day in a traditional sense.
Do you know what it is, JJ? It is the Disney Beyond the Mat.
It is. It 100% is.
Yeah.
And I was going to say that.
Okay.
Because it's this thing that much
we
like
make
Beyond,
movies, water.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like Beyond the Mat as well, like as years have gone by, Disney has sort of become more accepting of this thing. That's why it's still up. You know, nobody's going to ever openly admit to it, but they're also not going out of their way to stop its existence anymore.
Yeah.
Especially since so many of those people aren't involved anymore. Like, and so it's, you know,
it is. Yeah, I think I mentioned it early on. Like Sting's wife is the director of the documentary, or so
yeah.
As such, Sting's in it a lot.
Yeah. It's
curse like a sailor.
It's weird to see, like, because clearly it's so funny for a movie called The Sweatbox, where it's really clearly its initial intention was supposed to be how a musician makes music by committee for a movie.
Yeah.
You know, like this sort of history of that, which is fascinating. It is fascinating to see a creator like Sting not being able or allowed to create how he would.
Right.
It's fascinating to see him struggle with that throughout this movie and not handle it well at all.
Well, was he initially supposed to do 6 songs for this thing?
Yes, but that's like typical for these movies. I mean, like what I think you do 6. It's not guaranteed that they're all going to. I mean, look at Lion King.
Yeah.
How much and stuff like that, but yeah. So basically, the original movie was more Prince and the Pauper than whatever. This one isn't anything. Like, it's not The Emperor's New Clothes.
Nope.
And which is what the title sort of implies that it would be. And it's not that original Prince and the Pauper featuring Owen Wilson.
No.
That it ended.
Wow.
Wow. I do like that you go from Owen Wilson to John Goodman. Like, those are.
Yeah, it's like what? I mean, I guess they eventually both found work with Pixar, so in that sense, it's kind of a thing. But
yeah,
so you have Sully, you have Mike, and Lightning McQueen.
Yeah, so you have the movie starts off sort of focused on like Roger Alex, the director of it,
the first director,
of it. For Disney, he directed The Lion King.
Yeah.
So, you know, he's got a prestige to him. You know, he worked on the story for, coincidentally enough, The Prince and the Pauper, the Mickey Mouse Prince and the Pauper. He was the head story developer for Beauty and the Beast, story for Rescuers Down Under, story for, you know, but like anyone that was sort of at the studio gets story credit because it's as you see in the documentary, it sort of becomes a committee thing at a point.
But the Lion King directorial thing is really his, like, okay, we trust this guy.
So here we go. So it starts off. It's basically this movie starts off in 1997.
Yeah.
Where the movie is starting to take off, where it's been greenlit, and he goes and says, "Hey, Sting, how would you like to do Disney music?" And Sting's like, "Yeah, I'd like to do Disney music."
He's like, like since Sleeping Beauty, and I was like, yeah, it's just weird to see Sting's arc of this thing as far as his interest, his love of Disney.
It's fun to watch that spark get snuffed out.
Yes, it is.
Over the course of filming. because like he really is like, that sounds great, like because I mean at the time, I mean think about like Elton John was still riding the wave of the
Yeah.
Lion King at this point, especially in 1997.
Hmm.
Like, I mean, I'm sure uh, "Can You Feel the Love Tonight" was still, you know, absorbing the airwaves everywhere it can.
Yeah.
So,
And I mean, he'd kind of done a song for a Disney film with All for Love for Three Musketeers, so he
yeah,
maybe had a little bit of insight of that, but
yeah.
not to this extent.
And everyone was very excited. It was a palpable excitement for Kingdom of the Sun. Um, uh, so shortly after they're sort of getting everything really worked out, you're introduced to Schumacher and Schneider,
Hmm.
the executive producers of the movie. um, it did not go well.
That what was that guy who's like whispering next to the doorway, like, so I hear that just gonna scrap the whole thing.
I love it when they get to some of the animators and they're just like, I heard that they're going to start completely over from scratch. I heard that some of us have heard that they've fired Roger. Some have heard that Sting can't renew his contract.
Yeah.
um, they absolutely hated the movie. Um, and uh, I, the way they say like I liked that, like everything sucks except for like I like the love song and the llama song
Okay.
because it comes
Because
across
things stay in the room.
because things in the room, but you can read the room and you can read them in this documentary where they're lying.
Yeah.
They're clearly lying. They absolutely did not like those songs.
No.
That llama song is genuinely awful.
It is just the clips you hear. Like he's just again, like you said, word salad, like pajama, palama, panorama.
Yeah, like
It's
you
just like,
never get the
what
full.
the hell is this?
Yeah, it just really is Sting. Just like it's it's like the what was the David Allen Greer's in Living Color character?
Oh God.
Wrote a song about it. Like here it goes.
Yeah.
The Calhoun Tubbs or something like that. Like
Yeah. You know.
yeah. Um, I mean, it comes across as the same thing. Like it's like it's a movie about a llama. I wrote a song about a llama. Like here it goes. And just him, just whatever, like looking around the room, finding things to sing about, and throw the word llama in there.
Sting, do you really love a lamp, or are you just saying that because there's a lamp in the room?
Yeah, it comes across exactly like what like it's him trying to scientifically create a children's song, which he's 100% capable of doing.
Yeah.
like it's like, listen, we understand that your mind wants to make a song like Roxanne. We
Yeah.
get that. That's not what you can write for this. You need to have a good children's song. The
Yeah.
love song, I think he actually sort of nailed that one.
Well, yeah,
Like,
he's written this before, but
because
like,
that's what he's used to. So he was able to write a love song that just happened to involve Disney characters.
yeah,
But,
like,
yeah,
can you just like, can we just use a melody of "Don't Stand So Close to Me"? But
yeah.
can you put
Like
like some llama stuff in it?
the llama song, like it feels like Raffi would take offense to
Oh my
the llama
God,
song.
it's Banana Phone.
Yeah. Uh,
Greg and
like,
Steve present this Disney album.
yeah.
Well, I mean, but
So
I think the reason they say that is because he's in the room and he's not an employee of Disney,
yeah,
so he can be like, "All right, peace out, bye."
yeah, and even like him sitting in there, like saying, "Well, I thought it was a good movie," and they basically like,
Yeah,
"Shut up, shut up, Sting."
yeah. It's like, well, yeah, shut up.
um,
Go,
so
go, and you and Trudy go hang out for 8 hours.
yeah, so it becomes you go back and they have nothing now. They're saying like this movie's just not working. They have nothing, and so Roger Allers is just like, beside himself. He is upset. You cut to interviews with all the animators and stuff too, and they're all like this changes like the color guy was like changing the script could change the entire color palette of the film, and I'm just back from square one here. So
what's the part where they're in that conference room and they're talking about like the guy's sound effects? Like, it's just too heavy.
Yeah.
Like, where is he? In the back. Like, it's not working.
Yeah.
And he's just like, eh.
So basically what they do is they grab story guys from like other Disney stuff, and they sort of have a powwow of trying to come up with what the plot should be for Kingdom of the Sun now.
A booking meeting.
Yeah, basically. And after they sort of come up with the new plot is when Roger leaves, because it's not his movie anymore. He's done. He's like, this is, you've created, I had my idea, this is my idea, and this isn't my idea anymore. So he's gone. Out of there. And you get Mark takes over. I forget his last name. Starts with a D. Mark D.
Was it Schumacher who's like, well, he's being really cool about he's being a gentleman and an adult about it. So it's not weird, but I mean, I guess it's kind of weird when I see him in the halls, but he's not being weird about it. Like,
yeah.
So what you're saying, he's being weird about it.
Cut to him on vacation, just trying to
staring at the sunset on the beach.
Yeah.
Just contemplating the mysteries of the universe.
Like worried about life itself at this point. Yeah.
Yeah.
At this point, the movie takes on its second title, Kingdom in the Sun, which they even in the movie they take a shot. It's like, well, it's a small thing, but it is progress.
Yeah.
And this is about the point where because the original plot, as they were doing, was sort of this Prince and the Pauper thing, where Owen Wilson's character looks like his version of Pacha, looks like David Spade's Matcha.
Pacha and Matcha.
Yeah. Looks like him, so they were going to do a swap, Prince and the Pauper thing, and then then he gets turned into a llama, and then he gets a whole the story theoretically would play out similarly because they show some of the footage and it looks like there's similar things going on. But yeah, at this point is where Owen Wilson is unceremoniously yanked from the movie and replaced with John Goodman. But like the one guy's like, so my character went from 18-year-old kid to a 45-year-old man. So that's
yeah. Yep. I do like the whole. You kind of feel bad for the animators that, like, especially like when you're like they're on location in like South America.
Yeah.
And they're like looking around like, oh yeah, we're gonna incorporate this, and you're like, no, you're not. You're not gonna do any of that.
No, you're not. And so yeah, Schneider and Schumacher very happy with the changes they're making. Sting very much not happy.
Writes a terse letter.
Right. The letter is the best part of this movie.
Yeah.
Because like Sting has typed up a letter about how unhappy he is with the plot of this movie. Yeah. I think he makes a valid point in the sense that, it doesn't make any sense that we go through all of this and he still gets his water park at the end of it.
Yeah.
It means he hasn't really learned that much, just to respect people a little more. But once they get the letter,
they have that meeting. Did anybody get Sting's letter?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are good notes. There's some good notes in there.
Yeah, they're very clearly fully aware that the camera's on them, so they can't just talk trash about Sting's dumb letter.
Yeah.
But you can the animosity towards the letter is palpable by Schumacher and Schneider. And
even Roy Disney, who they talk to, which I said, like, we're gonna do. It's good to have people like thinking outside the box.
Yeah,
we're gonna still do whatever the hell we want. But
we're doing what
they can contribute.
So good. That whole scene is so good because it really does give you because it's the perfect encapsulation of like what was going on at the
Yeah.
time. Like the chaos. So the animators are doing their best to work with what they have, which is
Yeah.
very little at this point still. Um, you have the outsider who doesn't understand any of this, um, not being able to handle it, and them just being like, get out of here, Sting, go.
Yeah.
Like the executives in charge of everything are just, they're going to have their way no matter what. It doesn't matter what the art is behind it. These executives are going to have their way at the end. Um,
And they sort of don't care that. And I see Sting's frustration because it's like, okay,
yeah,
you're done with this movie. Nope, now you're not. And he's like,
yeah,
well, I'm on the Himalayas now. So
yeah, yeah. Sting's like, well, see ya, because he's been doing it for. I think he even said like we've been working on this for 2 years. I thought it was over, and it's not.
yeah,
Because and he's already started to work on his next album at this point, so they've strung him along so long to the point where his schedule is thrown out of whack
yeah,
entirely, and so he's screwed. Like he's got his commitment to make these songs for this movie, but he's trying to do his own thing, so he's not in the creative space that he needs to be for to do his stuff and the Disney stuff. But it doesn't so much matter with the Disney stuff because they're gonna pretty much tell him what to write,
right.
and they kind of do. I mean, like. Uh, So
I
it's
do like the one. Oh, was it Mark? I guess the director where he's like they call Sting and they have him on speakerphone.
yeah,
Eric, so here's where we're at.
yeah,
All your songs,
yeah,
we're not going to use any of them.
yeah,
So write one.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, yeah. They just basically Sting's commitment goes to one song,
Yeah.
which is this movie was just so weirdly mismanaged. Um, and you got to remember, so when you're watching all of this, you have to keep in mind that this isn't the Disney of this. This is the Disney of soon to come,
Mm-hmm.
not the Disney of current. As they're making this movie, Disney is still on top of the world,
Right.
because this movie is taking place between 98 and 99, basically, um, or 97 and 99.
Right.
Basically, and that's what Disney is still at the top of the world. I mean, Lion King is still brand new. They haven't really released, Fantasia to Tarzan hasn't come out yet, even though that was um,
How dare
when
you
they,
use that dirty word on this?
um, so Disney hasn't really been dropping off yet during the early production of this documentary because Dinosaur was in production and so was Fantasia. Roy was probably working on Fantasia 2030 production of this documentary.
You could see
Which
why it did fall off a cliff based on the lack of communication and the
yeah, the good thing that this movie sort of figures out what went wrong at the end of this documentary,
yeah.
and it's the fact that nobody wanted to say anything until it was too late,
Yep.
and that's exactly what happened. Like they waited till 0 hour, and it sounds very similar to what happened with Toy Story,
Mm.
where they showed Toy Story, and once the Disney executives saw it, there's like, no, this is unacceptable. This is a terrible movie. Do it again, and they had to do it again.
Yeah.
Um, uh, except it's one thing when you have Pixar, who was at the time an outside studio working on behalf of Disney, as opposed to this is your studio. This is your main folks. Um, this movie is also like vaguely, I don't want to say racist, but like they kind of like make references a couple of times of like those Europeans, huh? They really understand cartoons. Like this weird like
Yeah, because they had the outsourced stuff to Paris.
yeah, to Paris and stuff. It's like, oh, it's Paris. They treat comics different than
Yeah,
uh
with
animation different
nerds.
than this
They,
these
they
yeah.
they draw that good erotica, so they should be good at this.
Yeah, it's just weird. And there's the one joke with Sting about like it's been 2 years. Yeah, you've gone gay since then,
Yeah,
which is just like this weird, like it sticks out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
in this. It's like, boy, you know full well that line would have been cut, along with every other profanity Sting drops in this movie.
And that one David Spade comment.
Yeah, yeah,
But also like the whole thing where he talks about in this letter, I don't like the fact they're taking bits and pieces of different cultures and throwing them into this thing,
yeah. They're
and
just
just
sort
like,
of
yes, well, whatever.
the very Disney thing of sort of trying to create your own, like they are trying to create like culture out of multiple cultures because that's what Disney does. They always have.
Yeah.
Like you see like what Milan. It's like it's Chinese culture, but it's like they're taking it from like different areas of lore and things like the Native American stuff too in
Pocahontas,
Pocahontas,
yeah, or even Hercules. Yeah,
Hercules. Yeah, they're just sort of yeah. So again, Sting isn't wrong, but it's not his place either.
no,
Like, it comes across as one of those like uh to whom it may concern emails that you get CC'd on
yeah.
at an
Oh my
office.
god,
It's like, if the refrigerator was for, kind of,
it's Sting is the person who leaves a passive aggressive note in the break room
yeah,
about like, hey, listen, Friday's clean out day.
yeah, exactly. The, yeah, the, yeah, the
Could
cupboards
somebody
aren't
put
your, this isn't your house. These cupboards aren't for your personal
please
storage.
wash any dishes you use.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's what it comes across as. And even once they get the letter, we're just going to focus on the letter because the letter is the best part of the movie. Which is
Yeah,
when they get the letter and they're sitting around talking about the letter, they clearly are just like the movie itself, looking at the audience like, can you believe this nonsense with this letter?
and for
We
all
have
we
to
know,
pretend.
it could have been his wife in the room with the camera.
Yeah, I'm almost certain. Yeah, if she was directing the documentary, she was certainly had to have been there.
Yeah, she's like,
The things that she probably heard that they didn't want Sting to hear
yeah,
because they forgot that she was the director.
like what a bonehead. Is what we would say if we
Yeah,
were another studio.
I do like it. The Wikipedia page for the Sweatbox has a great line, and I saved it because I thought it was hilarious. Sting continues to work on the film, though he feels that his role has been reduced somewhat. Somewhat? You
What
feel that way? Is that how you feel? Because guess what? It was.
it,
That's not a feeling. That's just
no,
fact.
yeah. JJ, can we talk about the most out of the weirdest thing of this documentary, which has nothing to do with Emperor's New Groove whatsoever? Where he's in the Himalayas and they keep showing that dude in the,
Yeah, what is
and they keep zooming in on him, like, why? And he's looking at the camera like, hey.
Yeah, I have no idea what that was.
Yeah.
I did,
Some guy in like the hot spring,
yeah.
just like
So
chill.
yeah. So
Get
making
a
a
cool
movie.
guy.
Can I help you?
Yeah. I was making a documentary.
About
You're
what do you about the Himalayas? No, about a Disney cartoon.
yeah.
What?
But we just need your middle-aged shirtless body in it.
Is it about the Himalayas? No.
No, it's not. Why are you zooming in? Don't worry about it.
There's another movie out there that we're not allowed to see.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, hey, don't worry about it.
We also have to talk about when he learns what the title's been changed again.
Oh
The
my
Emperor's New
god.
Groove.
Sting's reaction. It's just like, well, I did hear earlier, but it was getting changed too. So I kind of, was ready for it. But now hearing it in the context of this new story, I'm all right with it. Like, no, Sting, your first reaction was,
Yeah,
if you could have made mouth fart, you would have.
yeah, and it's so funny because it really is. It is funny because the way he says it while there, it's like, when I heard the title, I was indifferent about it, but now that I'm seeing it and within context, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, it's not really saying that it's good. It's like, oh, I get it now. You've done this to this movie.
I
Okay.
kind of think at this point he's like, listen,
can I just
I
can I
don't
leave
care.
now?
Let me just. Here's your
Can I
song.
yeah, can I be free of this,
Okay.
please?
Please help.
Um and then you have Don Hahn at the end of the movie sort of saying like, whew, that was uh that was an ordeal, huh? I learned some valuable lessons.
Did you though?
Not to wait till the last minute to tell
Yeah.
people that we don't like this stuff. That don't try to protect feelings.
Yeah.
I do like at one point they even talk about because it is well known that with these movies that there is a lot of like, no, this doesn't work, go back to it. This movie goes at it as hard as ever, and they mentioned it earlier in the film. Like they're sitting around talking about it. It's like you hear about like, oh, that's just what making a cartoon is like. It's like, well, yeah, but not like this. Like
This-
they say it in the movie. Like
yeah.
this is something completely different. And I like Sting at the end, just defeated, absolutely defeated. It's like I didn't like I didn't like how it happened. Didn't understand it, but once making some music by committee and having to go through all this stuff, but it's a process that works, and I'm happy with what came out of it. Like, yeah,
Yeah. Are you
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Yeah. It's like Sting asked for a Nintendo for Christmas. His parents got him a Master System. I was like,
Yeah,
oh, that's
he got
cool. Oh,
he
it's
got yeah,
fun.
yeah, he got a 7800.
Whatever. Maybe I'll get one for my birthday. But this is pretty cool. None of the other kids got this, so I'll be the only one in my street to have it.
Uh,
It's just like nobody wants to. I think Sting comes the closest to like being honest about like,
yeah,
whoa.
yeah,
Everyone's like, no, he's taking it well, or like,
yeah.
well, it's kind of how it is, and
For a movie that's never been released, this movie does hold 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
it's a
Uh,
it's a fun
I
movie.
will I will say that this is more enjoyable than the actual movie. I think.
Oh, Sweatbox.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about yes.
No,
Oh
no, 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 no. The Sweatbox holds
no,
100% on Rotten Tomatoes. For a
yeah,
movie that was never actually released. I think I enjoy the Sweatbox more than the Emperor's New Groove, just for that's more my style. I love documentaries and I love nonfiction stuff, and this one
do you
lets you
know
see Disney in a weird place.
that kind of makes sense because you and I, as wrestling fans, like the behind the scenes garbage more than the
Yeah,
actual product half the
yeah,
time.
yeah.
So like, I want that dirt. Give me
I
that dirt.
on the website Mouse Planet, one of the writers attended a screening, and he says that whenever Schumacher and Schneider were on screen, there were howls from the audience because it was mostly Disney animators.
Yeah.
So, um, he wrote that the executives come across as nerdy bullies who didn't seem to know what was going on when it came to animation. And yep,
Yeah.
yeah, they absolutely do. They
We
come
don't
across.
like it.
Yeah,
We don't know why. We don't like it though.
yeah, because the perfect example of them not knowing what is like how to make a movie is the scene where they're talking about the family,
Yeah.
and he's like because you have them talking about it's like I don't like the family, I don't like going back to like all that stuff.
Mhm.
It's like they're like, no, you have to have the family because it makes no sense if it's just a single guy going out there for like what's his
Yeah.
goal, what's his and so he had to see them sort of backpedal on that a little bit because the entire room is being hostile against these executives because they clearly don't understand what story means. Just because they simply don't like the way something played out, they're ready to salt the earth underneath it.
Yeah.
And like it's like I don't like the way the family is played here, so just get rid of it altogether. It's like that doesn't make any sense. Like that makes no sense. You don't understand what you're talking about. And
So they're
they rarely come across as
likable
people that
or
or
in the right.
likable, yeah, or what they know anything about what's going on at the studio.
So these guys aren't there anymore, right?
No.
Okay. Were they out quickly thereafter, or do you know that?
I think not quickly, but quickly enough. I think within 2 years, um, Schneider is gone, and no, Schumacher's gone within 2 years, and I think yeah, I think Schneider is gone the year after this movie. So yeah,
Okay.
they're gone. So Schumacher's gone a little longer. Schneider's gone almost immediately.
I forgot what their credits were that gave them the power to do this. Like they had some.
Well, because Schneider was involved in Roger Rabbit, Beauty
Yeah,
and the Beast, Lion King, and I think Schumacher. I think Schumacher just had been there for a long time.
oh, that's right. Schumacher said he'd been a performance artist or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. He was
And
like he
he just
he
worked his
like
way up the ladder.
yeah, but he like also was like uh what is it? He was I can't remember because he was like originally like in ballet or something
Yes,
weird like that.
something like that.
Yeah,
But
he joined Disney in like the '80s, and he was like the producer of The Rescuers Down Under. Um, and like yeah, he quickly just sort of because in the time frame where these guys made their rise to power, it's about the same time that Eisner came in, and so just I think he just positioned yourself in the right place at the right time kind of
yeah,
thing, especially during a somebody else coming into power. It's like Eric Bischoff becoming president of WCW. It makes no sense, but he
yeah.
just was able to talk himself into the role. You know,
It could
like
be a thing where Eisner liked them personally.
yeah.
Just like, hey, no. So yeah,
So um,
but not people who should be making these decisions.
no, and
Clearly,
clearly
not.
they yeah clearly they weren't. Being a producer is one thing. Being president is a completely other thing. Like they clearly didn't understand the process of making like as well as they thought they did about what it's telling a story. Not even necessarily animation, even though animation, it's a very Katzenberg level understanding of what animation is. Like how he went into the editing bay to start editing the Black Cauldron, even though that's not how you worked on cartoons.
Right.
You know, and it's a very similar sort of level of like you can't just stop this because now you're breaking everything. You've broken everything, and we're almost done. Like we're about to start animation, and now everything's changed. Everything we've designed is done. Every song that's been written is gone because you are indecisive and don't know what you want.
Yeah.
So,
And
like,
you
like there was no middle ground. There was no what can we do to salvage this. It was just we can't salvage this, and they made that decision, and they're done. Because from what we saw of the footage that's in there, and what we know of the plot, it sounds like a very good movie.
yeah,
It sounds like you could have turned that into something.
yeah. I
Like it
could
may
know
not have
about
been,
the lava song, but
yeah, yeah. Um, but like the whole like yeah, the Prince and the Pauper story made a lot of sense, and like there is no love plot in this movie at all, even though the
nope.
original version did. Um, so there was some you could have salvaged the original movie in some way, but instead, they've decided that no. Um,
We don't care how far behind schedule we are. We
yeah.
don't care how much money we've already put in this
This was
film.
supposed to be the movie when like Dinosaur got pushed up, where so this one got pushed out because they were behind schedule. So Dinosaur replaced it in its release schedule. So that's what happened with that. Because again, they were behind schedule because they had to start the movie all over again. Um,
In 2.5 years, right? They had two and a
yeah,
half years from that point to.
yeah. And during all of this, you had stuff like uh, we're working on this movie, but now it's being pushed out. So we need to take these guys because they're working on this segment for Fantasia, or we're working on these guys and now they have to go do this over here because it's taking too long. So yeah, but I do like one thing. Uh, you have David Reynolds who with the new idea. He was a late night comedy
No.
Um, so he says, I pitched a simple comedy that's basically a buddy road picture with
Yep.
two guys being chased in the style of a Chuck Jones cartoon, but faster. and Disney told me to give it a shot. So,
Yeah.
um,
And for the most part, it works.
yeah, yeah, um, yeah. There we go. Meanwhile, the name Manko was changed to Kuzco following Fulmer's discovery that the Japanese slang term Manko, with a K, not a C, like the character's name was, translates to, and it actually says the word in the Wikipedia article. So,
Yeah.
and it has a link that you can click. I don't know what that where that's going to take me in Wikipedia
So,
rabbit hole.
so hey, listener, just wiki the Sweatbox or Emperor's New Groove, the
Yeah.
subsection for Sweatbox is in there. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Sweatbox has its own Wikipedia article
Yeah.
by itself too, which is fascinating. It just, there is so much that broke in this movie. It's fascinating. It's fascinating that it came out in any sort of like presentable way.
Yeah.
Um,
That was remotely good.
yeah, yeah. Like it shouldn't be as good as it is, but it somehow came together in the end.
I mean, it's
Um,
when we get to it, I will tell you, it's my personal belief, and I'm sure yours, that it was a lot better than some movies that were in production for a long, long time.
yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah.
Eisner's biggest fear about this movie was that it was very similar to Hercules, which it like the story wise, and like I guess in a way, you know, making his way back to whatever. I get tonally what he means, but the only reason he was actually worried wasn't because it seemed like Hercules. It was that Hercules underperformed at the box office, and that's what he was worried about.
Yeah. Well, the little clip of that little stone guy, the little
Yeah,
well, that was Harvey Firestein. It sounded like, right?
I think so.
Yeah, and that was very Phil and Hercules dynamic.
Yeah, yeah. 1,000-year-old rock.
Yeah. It's like, so I like my fair lady, and why can't a woman be more like? So I just took that song and made it to a song about rocks.
Oh my god, that's right. And then he starts playing it out, and it sounds exactly like My Fair Lady song.
Yeah, Rex Harrison. Yeah,
yeah, that was. You just sit there. I actually had my mouth like hung open. I was like, "This, you can't be serious, Stan."
Yeah,
like,
I was like, he's the melody of that song, basically.
I was stunned by like, is this what your creative process is? How did you ever obtain anything resembling fame?
Yeah.
If this is like, I thought this was a good idea, so I just stole the song.
Yeah. But he's being very literal, like, well, I can't a human be more like a rock? Live for thousands of years and be sturdy. Just be like, what the hell, Steve?
I can just picture his wife just standing behind the camera, like, what are you? What? I'm filming this because I need to blackmail you later.
Yeah.
Like,
you know what makes me wonder is how much what got edited from this part from this documentary. Like, honey, this makes you look like just the biggest jackass.
I do like the horrified at the ending. Sting commented that I wrote the same letter and I wrote them a letter and said, "You do this, and I'm resigning because this is exactly the opposite of what I stand for. I spent 20 years trying to defend the rights of the indigenous people, and you're just marching over them to build a theme park. I will not be a party to this." As a result, the ending was rewritten, in which Kuzco instead constructs a shack similar to Pacha's and spends his vacations among the villagers. Like, yeah, no, that's not what happened. Like,
no,
he still built the water slide. He did not build a shack. He just built a smaller version of Cusco Tokyo.
but he shares that with the villagers.
The villagers, which we're playing a little fast and loose with the word villagers because it is his family.
Yeah,
and that seems to be the only part of the village you ever see.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like is this an Animal Crossing village? Like when you first move in, it's like it's just you. You get to pick where your house goes, so he picked it on top of the hill.
Yep.
And so
it's like, hey, Pacha, can you get me a peach? Really, like, there's a peach tree behind you. Dizzy, Just
Yeah.
turn around and get your peach.
Oh man, they were actually Atlantis was being worked on at the exact same time as this movie too.
Oh,
Like they're still actively working on Atlantis while this movie's being worked on.
So let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Does anybody in this documentary come out looking good?
No, like the
Alice,
animators,
maybe.
the animators come out looking fine.
Yeah.
I think because they're just they come across as the grunts,
Yeah.
you know, because you do have like the one that European guy that was like everyone's like, oh, you're gonna move to America and work at Disney, jeez, nerd, you know,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
kind of like he comes out fine. Like all of the animators, like because they just all seem genuinely worried at all times and anxious, and they hate their bosses and they're upset. Like they come, Allers comes out fine.
Yeah.
They try to paint him as being unreasonable, but we know how some of these directors are. We know how they think of their art,
Yeah.
and I think asking him to make a movie that he didn't want to make, that wasn't the movie he signed on to make.
Yeah.
It's fair for him to say, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
They tried to make it seem like he should have stuck it out, but um, for the most part, everyone else, like the you know, Schneider and Schumacher and Stang all kind of come across as stubborn fools. Like,
Yeah.
because for every scene where Sting comes across as kind of okay, there's like two scenes where it's like, what are you doing? Just write the music, man. Just
Yeah. Well, even like the guy who's doing the score, he's
yeah,
like, where they kind of call him the task, like he's like, yeah, and they said that they just kind of wanted my blessing on it. And they gave it to him. I still got paid though, so it's
yeah,
just like, okay,
yeah. He didn't care for the art of it at all. So,
yeah,
I do like the scene where he's like, well, I'm going to go hang out with my new best friend, Tom Jones. Well, they
yeah,
just like 30-second scene of Tom Jones performing in the studio. Watching Eartha Kitt do the voice acting when they cut to her in the booth,
yeah,
where she's just like into it. She's breathing heavy and she's moving around like
yeah,
crazy. Like, man, I wish she did more cartoons. Man, she's killing it.
yeah. Well, even the part where they're talking about like, oh, hey, your character's different. She's like, wow, that I love her now, and she's a trooper, man. Of
Yeah.
anybody in this movie, Eartha Kitt is the most roll with the punches
You know,
person.
you know what my favorite part of the movie is, and I'm sure of the Sweatbox, and I'm sure is one of your favorite parts, is when they get into the marketing section and it has them sitting around a table examining all the McDonald's toys that are
Yes,
about to come out.
yeah,
I when that happened, I was just like, oh, this is the kind of stuff I want to see. I
yeah,
wish there was more to that scene of them picking apart the McDonald's toys. Like,
yes,
well, I don't know if they should do this or something.
yeah. I would have been in one of those videos. Like, well,
Yeah.
the action feature can't inhibit like the opposability.
There wasn't. Let's get to our typical stuff where we talk about like
Yeah,
what happens after the movie comes out. Marketing wise, like the McDonald's toys was kind of it. Like,
yeah,
and you'll see some Cuzco stuff from time to time still because there is he has catchphrases. Boom, baby.
yeah.
Like, but like there's not really. This movie didn't really have a lasting impact on the history of Disney,
No,
other than it did fine enough. But um, it when it came out, um, it was already out the gate. People were comparing it to The Road to El Dorado, which
did not do
is
well.
did not. But Road to El Dorado is actually it's a better movie. It's the DreamWorks movie.
That's
Yeah.
DreamWorks.
Um, uh, like so Disney still dealing with the Katzenberg issue.
Even though he's not even there anymore.
Yeah, I wonder what this movie. I need to see what this movie opened up against, because I bet you it was something crazy. When did this movie open? It opened da, 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 December 15th, 2000. So, list of movies.
So you think Christmas season, cartoons, Disney?
Yeah, List of American films in the year 2000. No, that's not what I want. I don't want list. I just wanted films of the year in the year 2000. Okay, we're 3 for 3. We got it in all three
Yes.
movies. Glad. I was worried about that for a minute, but we got it. Let's get to December. What did Emperor's New Groove open up against? What do you think? Anything of note?
December 2000. I don't know, man. Give me. Will you shoot me a
Okay.
hint?
Okay. Here's what The Emperor's New Groove opened up against.
Was it
December
Doom?
15th, 2000. Chocolat.
Okay.
Uh, what do we got? We got Jackson Pollock's movie Pollock, What Women Want, and Dude, Where's My Car?
So, in theory, it should have been fine.
Yeah, the previous week, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, the Dungeons and Dragons movie, Snatch, and Vertical Limit, and the next week you get Castaway and Dracula 2000.
Well, one of those movies is good.
Yeah,
Dracula 2000 is good just for how dumb it is. So
yeah, so it opened up against Dude, Where's My Car? So on a budget of $100 million, it made $169 million.
so
at the
it
box office.
made a profit.
Made
Not
a profit.
much of one.
Um, the only like best original song nominated for the Academy Awards. Again, there's no we're a few years away still from there being a category for best film, animated film.
Mm.
So yeah, it was it did really well in the Latin market, which is good. They spent $250,000 on marketing it in Latin America.
Not a lot of money.
Not a lot of money. But it did pretty all right there. Let's see. By January 21st, following 19 days into its theatrical release, the Spanish dubbed prints were pulled because they wanted to watch the English language version instead. Sits at 85% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I think I remember reading something like it where it made its money was DVDs.
Yes, absolutely. Roger Ebert gave it 3 out of 4.
Yeah.
A goofy slapstick cartoon with the attention span of Donald Duck that is separate from what's known as animated features. So Ebert would later add that it doesn't have the technical polish of a film like Tarzan, but is a reminder that the classic cartoon look is a beloved style of its own. Because remember, this came out after Dinosaur.
Yep. I'm kind of so I've kind of like I kind of want a gif of you know how like they took a gif of Thor from Ragnarok, like is it though? I want that gif of Sting after hearing Emperor's New Groove, like
blinking white guy.
Yeah, like, I want Sting's like
yeah. So here you go. IGN has ranked Emperor's New Groove as the 16th best animated film.
Boy, and IGN's list for things are always really like the best.
This movie actually did have a film festival debut. It actually was at the 2002 or the Sweatbox, I should say.
Okay,
it's actually at the Toronto International Film Festival. Uh, so that's interesting.
So it's like people saw it, but it was like, what was the
Yeah,
thing at the end of the movie where it's supposed to like they're supposed to add a scene of Sting at a concert?
yeah, because I
Just get
think that was just.
the
I think the
card.
point of that was, yeah, it was going to be during the credits where it's going to have Sting performing music. I
Yeah,
think is what that was. Like this is placeholder text for where the credits would be, and
yeah.
there'd be Sting music playing. But so yeah, let's see. I like that Emperor's New Groove franchise has its own independent uh, Wikipedia thing because boy, is there a ton of stuff. Surprisingly, all things considered.
Yeah.
So you had the Emperor's New Groove in 2000. Was there a sequel?
Yes, Kronk's New Groove.
Kronk's New Groove came out in 2005, direct to video. Um, so a follow up featuring obviously Kronk. I think everyone like came back that they could. Like Patrick Warburton, Tracy Ullman is in it. Eartha Kitt's back. David Spade's back. John Goodman's back. Wendy Malick is back.
I mean, you didn't have the thing is, you didn't have any huge stars in it, so it wasn't. Yeah.
And it's I do like that they got Eartha Kitt back. Like, yeah, that's the most interesting. And by 2005, what was David Spade and Eartha Kitt doing? Like, John Goodman was the biggest star in that by this point.
He had done.
Yeah.
He just done. Well, Oh Brother. Probably.
Oh Brother came out like 2 weeks later.
Oh, okay. So yeah.
Of like 2 weeks after Emperor's New Groove, not Kronk's New Groove.
So
there, I do like if you go there. Let's see. So films: Emperor's New Groove, Kronk's New Groove, documentary film, The Sweatbox, unproduced film, Kingdom of the Sun. It says the short description of Kingdom of the Sun was the original draft of the film that went through massive changes in original universe. It is considered a different film despite being vaguely cosmetically reminiscent of the finished one. Yeah. It was described as an epic film on par with The Lion King as opposed to the buddy comedy it became. It's like, well, it's not like, yes, it's been described as, they make it sound vague, like it may have been this, but like we clearly know that's what it was. That was they even say so much in the movie that it was designed to be like an epic movie like The Lion King. Like they tried to compare the original movie to The Lion King.
That's not
different occasions.
There's a thing in the Sweatbox that you have not mentioned, and which is odd because I thought would be the part that appealed to you the most.
Oh yeah.
Well, no, it's like where they're like, hey, we're going to go into the archives.
Oh yeah.
And pull out the background for these movies. I'm like, holy crap.
People forget that the Disney Vault is both a concept and a very, very real thing.
Yeah, like
we've talked about it before, where like every letter that Walt ever sent or received is saved. We know so much about the production of anything like like that, things that you would lose over time and correspondences and stuff. We know all of these things because they kept everything. Walt was meticulous about keeping all that stuff, and they still have it. Like, there were, they don't have individual animation cells of complete films because, like with early animation, they would sell those or auction them off, or artists would take them or whatever. So, but for the most part, they have a lot of complete movies.
It looked like a Sleeping Beauty, like.
Yeah,
backdrop they were using, but like, can you? I know you especially like, hey, you get a week in this room.
Oh, I would. Yeah, I don't know what I would go back to the 30s and just be lost there forever.
Yeah,
they would just find my desiccated corpse just back there, and I haven't even gotten to like 1935 yet. So.
But that was kind of the cool part. Like, oh man, I kind of wanted like more like of that. Like,
we need to figure out an excuse to make something big and get it like a loan to produce a book or a documentary of some sort, and try to convince Disney to let us like look at the stuff in the archives. Yeah,
it's like because you don't know it's not just like they're animated films; it's everything, right?
It's everything. Yeah, it's there's animated stuff, all the live action stuff, letters, receipts, checks. Like memos, faxes. There's like hours upon hours upon hours of footage. They filmed every minute of Disneyland being built.
Yeah,
there's hours of it that would just feel like, hell yeah, let's go.
There's probably scenes they've cut out of things that they never Like, yeah, just like, why did he spend his whole week just in the Mighty Ducks section of the mall?
There was a TV series,
Was it Disney Afternoon?
probably.
Or like the Disney Channel version of Disney Afternoon?
Disney Channel, yeah. Emperor's New School aired from 2006 to 2008. Video games.
Probably Game Boy Color.
There was The Emperor's New Groove was released, developed by Argonaut Games for the PlayStation, Windows, and by Sandbox Studios for the Game Boy Color.
Of course.
Argonaut Games, yeah, you know what they're most known for?
I don't.
You don't know what Argonaut Games is most known for? They are the developers of Star Fox, the original Star Fox.
The original Star Fox? Okay.
Yeah.
No, I never paid attention to that. Okay.
Yeah, Stunt Race FX, which is just recently released on.
So basically, those Mode 7.
Yeah, and then they just inevitably became 3D. They made Croc 2, not the first, and Croc the original, but Croc 2 is the most important one. No,
the Croc franchise.
Yeah, the Croc franchise. Buck Bumble.
Well, I feel like this. When this goes into podcast form, this is where you insert the Buck Bumble
theme. The 10-hour version that's probably on YouTube, I assume.
Right here.
Yeah. Might actually have to do that. Let's see. The Emperor's New Groove. They did some Harry Potter games, Bionicle games. They did the Catwoman game. Their last game that they have listed is they also made Star Fox 2, which appears on the SNES Mini.
Yeah.
So 2017 release of that. So really their last released game was 2004, but because Star Fox 2 came out so much later, gets the credit.
I guess you count as like the version that had been floating around for years was like a unfinished ROM.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's...
let's see. Who made the Game Boy Color game? What games did they make? Oh, boy.
Sandbox?
Yeah. They made the dinosaur game for the Dreamcast.
Great.
For the Game Boy Color, they made The Emperor's New Groove. Hoyle Card Games. And ESPN National Hockey Night for the Game Boy Color.
I would have played one of those games.
Hoyle Card Games?
Yes.
For the PC, they made a Whammo Frisbee Golf and a Matchbox game. For the PlayStation, they made a game called Blast Lacrosse, which is a very good name for a lacrosse game, and Dinosaur. And for the Xbox, they made a Shrek game.
Huh.
So,
one day, if I ever become like super wealthy, I'm just going to make it a mission of getting as many weird licensed Game Boy Color games as I can.
can you hear me?
I can, yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I think I can hear you now, right?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Okay.
Okay, cool.
138. I'll remember this.
Got it.
I forget what we were talking about.
Game Boy Color games.
Oh, no. What was after the Game Boy Color games?
DS.
Oh, apparently they made another Game Boy Color, not Game Boy Color game. I don't know what is the Emperor's New Groove Center. Oh, it's a PC game. Okay, it's like the Activity Center nonsense they did.
I was like Elite Beat Agents or something, maybe.
Yeah, I'm definitely disappointed. Anything else of note with this? There's no theme park anything for this movie.
Was it in Kingdom Hearts in any way?
No.
It's not in Kingdom Hearts?
No.
Everything's in Kingdom Hearts
except for this
monstrosity. That's
No,
super weird.
Yeah.
It's not on Blu-ray, is it? Or it is, but it's not.
It's not like it got a special anything. Let's see. Home video releases. Where is it? I know it's in here somewhere. Well, I thought it was in here somewhere. Oh yeah, here it is. Home media. Standard VHS and DVD in 2001. A 2-disc collector's edition that includes bonus features such as Sting's music video of My Funny Friend and Me, and a Rascal Flatts music video of Walk the Llama Llama from the soundtrack.
Wow. I know I'm looking up on YouTube once we go up here.
Rascal Flatts doing the llama song for
it's like, hey, you think the llama song was bad enough with Sting singing it?
In September 2001, it was reported that 6 million VHS units were sold, amounting towards $89 million in revenue. On DVD, it was reported to have sold twice as much. Overall revenue was $125 million, according to the research. Emperor's New Groove was released on Blu-ray in 2013, bundled in a 2-movie collection with Kronk's New Groove. It sold 14,000 Blu-ray units its first weekend.
So, well, here's the thing, though. When they bundle it with another movie, it tells you what they think of it.
What?
Is it when they bundle it with another movie, it tells you what they think of it. It's like the Rescuers Down Under. Like when they do that bundle, it's like
Fantasia 2000 comes with Fantasia.
Yeah.
Or you can just get Fantasia by itself, or if you want Fantasia 2000, you got to get the combo pack.
Yeah.
So that tells you their opinion. And it's funny because this movie made money. They did a lot with it afterwards, and it's not bad.
No.
So it's weird that they have such a low opinion of it. And I would assume that just the bad history of the movie is sort of more has to do with it than the actual run of the movie.
Like they're embarrassed of it.
Yeah. So opening weekend premiered 4th, grossing $10 million behind What Women Want, Dude, Where's My Car, and How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Wow.
So I guess finishing behind Dude, Where's My Car will take the wind out of your sails.
Yeah, a little bit.
So, that's a shame. But I still like it.
Yeah, that's fine. It turned out fine.
You ready to rank it?
Let's rank it.
All right, Nick.
Let's start. Let's start about. Well, I don't know if you have a numbered anymore. Do you have them numbered?
No, I keep thinking about doing it every week, but I never do.
All right. We'll just start at the top, then I'll go down. I'll work my way down then.
All right. Lion King.
Nope.
Robin Hood.
Nope.
Beauty and the Beast.
No.
Aladdin.
No.
Jungle Book.
No.
Sword in the Stone.
No.
The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh.
No.
Hercules.
No.
Little Mermaid.
No.
Fantasia.
No.
Great Mouse Detective.
No.
Mulan.
No.
Black Cauldron.
No.
Cinderella.
No.
Dumbo.
No.
Ichabod and Mr. Toad.
No.
The Rescuers. Or no, sorry, Hunchback of Notre Dame.
I think I like it more than Hunchback.
You like it more than Hunchback of Notre Dame. And this movie was called Empire Strikes Back.
Empire Carpet today.
Where's that put it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 on your list. You're right there with IGN.
Yeah. All right. So like what you're saying is I can write for IGN.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's some deals on Dell laptops.
Too Much Water, 7 out of 9.
Uh-huh. Oh
Number
my
16.
God, were they in Too Much Water publication?
Yes,
that
they're the
them?
ones that said
Oh my
Pokemon had too much
God.
water.
Oh my God. Wow.
I'm just going to start in the middle of my list because, well, not middle, but let's see. I'll start at Cinderella. No. Little Mermaid, no. Sword in the Stone, no. Robin Hood, no. Great Mouse Detective, no. Black Cauldron, no. Mulan, no. Peter Pan, no. 101 Dalmatians, no. Hunchback, yes. I think mine's further down than yours.
Yeah.
Let's see what I put it at. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Not that much further down.
Just one more down.
Yeah. So
We're pretty
right in the
good
middle,
here.
really. I mean, we're at 40. We just about put it, middle-ish.
Yeah. It's not a
fair.
bad movie.
If you're this is the 40th movie, we put it above the 20 spot, so it's above average by this scale as it is right now.
I have a feeling it's going to be we're going to have a few small shining spots during an otherwise rough period coming up.
Yeah, I think there's probably for a while there's probably one that we'll both agree on is really good.
Yeah,
and the rest will either be first time viewings in some cases.
Yep.
Or first times in years in some cases. And most of them are
Drek
experiences.
experiences. Oh, you're like the guy. I was telling you about the guy I was went that Star Wars special.
Yeah.
It's like, I guess experiences. Stop saying experiences, sir.
So that's that. That's exciting. We ranked them. We're good. Next episode. I actually forget what number 41 is.
Well, let's take a look. Let's vamp for a minute here.
Let's vamp. How you doing?
Oh, vamping.
Vamping, just vamping away.
Yeah, what's like Dracula? I've taken coffin drops.
Okay, so number 41 is Atlantis: The Lost Empire. That's what I thought, but I wasn't going to speak out of turn and just look like a real jerk.
I've seen that movie.
Yeah,
On
I've
purpose.
seen that movie too.
On
I'm
purpose.
sure we'll have some things to say about that movie.
Boy, hey, it's got Michael J. Fox in it.
It certainly does.
He was in it.
He was, wasn't he?
Yeah.
We just want to get through next week because then after that you get like an actual good movie.
Yeah.
So,
but after that,
back to a long, painful road of mediocrity or worse. So
it's gonna be a chore. We're gonna slog our way through it until
and then once you hit that golden break at the decade, it's game on.
We gotta Andy Dufresne our way to Princess and the Frog.
There we go. Exactly. But until then, again, next episode will be Atlantis: The Lost Empire, 2001, jumping into a new year finally.
Yep.
But until then, thank you all once again for joining us, and have a magical day.